Hello there, welcome back to another Hammer tutorial. This time we are creating your first map in Hammer. Before we start though, if you do not have the editor installed, please go watch this last video in the series that goes with the installation. This is not the video for that at least. If by chance you need extra help, leave a comment on the video for me to respond to, go to the Valve Developer Wiki, or join the Discord server linked in the description below and DM me about your issues there. It's not my personal Discord server, but you can easily contact me there if needed. Either way, let Unscripted me show you how to make your first map. Alright, so like last episode, we ended off here, right? You've done all your settings, you've done everything I said in last video, right? You installed the editor and all that. So the way you start making your first map is first off, you go to File, click New. Now, as you can see on the left side here, we have all these tools that are now viewable. We're not going to be using all these today, but we're going to be using a few of them. On the middle of the screen here, you have 4 grids here. Or you have 3 grids and you have 1 camera view. The camera view is a third-person look at in your view, or in the map you're making. You can see your map through this camera view. And the way, if you want to move around in the camera view, you hover over with your mouse and you press C, and then you use WASD to move around, or you can, there's a few other commands, but I usually just use WASD. That's really all you have to do. There's also like different subsets for cameras, like there is 3D wireframe, 3D flat, 3D texture, shade poly, all that. You have all these, but you don't need to worry about these at all. Sorry, I clicked my mouse key. Anyway, yeah, you have 3 of these. You don't need to worry about these. It's probably going to be on 3D shaded textured polygons by default or something, but as long as it's on one of these that says textured, it doesn't really matter. You also have 3 grids on the side here. You have a top grid, a side grid, and a front grid. These are all 2D plane images or 2D plane views of your map. The top is the top of your map, the side is the side of your map, and the front is the front of your map. And you also it's also just a grid size as well. You can also make this grid bigger and smaller. So as you can see, there's 2 buttons at the top here. There's smaller grid and there's bigger grid. You can, or smaller and larger. You can click them and it will make it smaller, or you can make it larger. I usually keep it at anywhere from 1, 2, or 4. That's generally the map size you want to keep it at, because it's easier to work with. But sometimes, if you really want to, you can do bigger. That's just what I would recommend. 4, 2, or 1, that's usually the sizes you're going to be using half the time. Alright, now let's get to actually making your map, or your first map. So firstly, before we do anything, you see this current texture thing over here? It says current texture. It says, well, it's not going to be this, but it's going to say a current texture. It's going to show something. You want to click browse, right? You want to click browse, and you want to type no draw. Like so, and then you'll see this one. You want to use that. You want to use this because it is an optimization tool. You will be adding textures to each face of every like brush or wall you make with this texture, because that's just easier, because you don't want to be rendering a texture that the player will not see. That's just bad optimization. You want to render it, nothing. You want to render nothing there. Generally why you want to use no draw. But anyway, we'll first go over the first tools, or we'll go over 2 first. The first one is the selection tool. This is to make selections in your map, right? It's the keybind is Shift S, and you can drag on the grids. You can drag on the grid and you can select things. And I mean, sometimes you might have to press enter, but the point is that this selects things for you. And you Shift S, and you want to move something, you select it, and then you drag it anywhere on the grid, on whatever side you want. The next tool, which is the more important one today, or is the more necessity right now, is the block tool. This one is by accessing Shift B, and it's like the selection tool, except you draw on the grid. So like, as you can see here, I'm drawing on the grid. We're gonna, let's say a 1024 size brush, right? Let's make a 1024 size brush. It's right here. But yeah, it'll give you this outline in the camera view of whatever you're making. It'll give you an outline. You can also make it, with Hammer++, you can make it bigger or smaller in the camera view, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you can draw on the grid. Let's make it 1024. Also, I kind of fucked up the size, but I can fix that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, alright. So yeah, it's 1024 by 1024, right? You can drag it down, you can move it wherever you want. It's just that size. And then the way you create the brush is by pressing enter. And now you have a brush here. This is, of course, using that no draw texture on the side here. That is using that no draw texture, and you can move it and all that. Now, what if we wanted to create walls with this texture? Well, first off, I would reselect it, or press Shift S, switch back tools, and then you can press Shift B again. And so you see here, I'm selecting the other tool. And then I'm gonna drag here. And since I want to make a wall, right, because I'm assuming we're making a big wall, right? We're gonna make a wall. So what I'm gonna do, right, is I'm gonna drag it on the front side, or you can do it on the side, but either way, I'm gonna drag it up, and then I'm gonna make it, let's say 160 in height. I think that's a good size. Actually, no, we'll go 182 because it's even with the grid. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, that's how you create a wall. It's similar. It's just, I think you're getting the pattern here. Then you can select it, then you can do that, or you can go back to your block tool, and then you can do another one, and then you can do it again. This isn't really that intuitive, but it's something that you will get used to, especially if you use other art programs, although I don't really use many other art programs than, I guess, this. Anyway, yeah, so you have walls, and then you can do the same thing by adding a roof. Now, by the way, Control-C, Control-V does work with this, so if you want to copy something you already have, what you can do is press Control-C on whatever you're selecting, and then press Control-V on the camera view, or you could also do it on the grid too. It's either one, but you can do that, and then you have another one, then you can just slide to wherever you want. Now, important to note, right, you don't want anything from outside this black void. By default, you'll see a skybox texture. If you click this button up here, right, if you click this button where my mouse is, you will enable this 2D skybox, and at least in Hammer++. In basic Hammer, you'll see void. You'll see nothing. Now, what the goal of making your first map, right, is that an error will pop up in your first map that it will provide a leak. A leak is something that is where the inside of your map is leaking out to this void box area, or like this black void. You do not want that. It is a problem. It is a flaw with your map, and it will cause things like bad lighting or bugs, so you don't want that. But once you have your map created indoors, right, you have a map here. Now, there's no player spawn, and there's also no textures, so it's going to be still void of death, but there is technically no leaks. So what I'm going to tell you to do is how to apply textures to these walls. So we already went over the selection tool and the block tool. We're going to go over the texture application tool, or kind of. We're not going to go over it entirely. But yeah, if you click this, sorry, it's on my other monitor, you will get this little screen here. This screen is something that does a lot of things, but material is what we're importantly looking at. This tool kind of allows you to do things like make textures align with certain things, or it's like an alignment tool, right? When you apply textures to these walls, you can make them align and stuff, and you can also like change the textures as well. And displacements is not something we're going to talk about this video, but it is cool, but we'll talk about later. Anyway, let's say we want to change these walls to a different texture, right? Let's say a dev texture. So we'll select all the walls. You can select them one by one, which is what I'll do. So let's type dev. What's a dev texture? We'll go with dev 50%, right? We'll go with 50% dev texture, reflectivity 50%, and then we'll apply it to each wall. And by the way, you can right click each wall. You don't have to like do that every time. You can just like use your right click, and then you applies it to that texture. Now, what if we wanted to apply it to two different textures? Well, you can do the same thing, kind of. You can just control click. So you hold control and you click the other side face, and then you can apply a different texture. We will go with reflectivity 10% here. It's a little darker texture. It's a floor texture compared to the walls. So yeah, we have walls, and we have roof and floor. We have them all textured. You could load up the map, but there's one more thing you have to do before you do that. What you have to do first is add a player spawn, which is actually pretty simple. This is the final tool we're going to be going over today. We're not really going to talk a lot about it. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this tool, but this is one we're going to need for this video. I'll go over it more later, but anyway, the entity tool, this little like fella over here, it's like a little bob head. But yeah, you can place it down the way you could either do it on the grid, which you can click, or you can like press anywhere on the grid and then press enter. Or what I usually do more is just I use the camera view and do that, plop it down, because that's just faster usually. So yeah, I'm gonna place it in the middle here. Yeah, this is our player spawn. You spawn here. When you compile the map, which we will do here in a bit, you spawn here, and that's pretty much it. It's like when you load up a level in game, wherever you start is where you're gonna spawn. That's the spawn point. So yeah, before we do that, I think we should make this look a little bit, because like all these walls are flat, right? So I'm gonna let you use what you learned, and you can do whatever you want with these walls. I'm just gonna do a few things with them, but yeah, I'll get back to you. Okay, we are done. I mean, I'm done. All I really did was add some walls here. I didn't really want to make anything super complicated, just in case you wanted to copy what I did. But yeah, all I did was just add walls about this size, or like little indents on the walls on the side. We'll make it look a little different later. This is just a basic map, right? You don't want to make it super complicated. Anyway, so now we're going to get to the part where we actually run our map. It's pretty simple, but don't worry. Okay, so first off, you want to go to File, right? You want to go to File, and you want to click Run Map. You could also do F9, right? So yeah, you go here, you click Run Map. I have to save it, so I will cut so you don't see my hard drive space. All right. Now we've saved the map. We have saved the map. It's testmap_01. It doesn't really matter what you name it, as long as you have it named test whatever you want. Now you can now click Run Map, and I will recommend you add settings down here. The first one I would really recommend is called dev. This automatically enables SV cheats and does a few other things, but I don't really know what else it does, but I know it enables SV cheats automatically, so that's what I do by default. I like to have my game in windowed mode when I start it up with this compiler, because windowed mode is just better, or it's just better for testing things like this for me. So I do that. I also have like the custom resolution, so I don't have to change it. But yeah, that's usually what I do. You could put whatever you want, but I do recommend putting -dev at the bottom because that's just really useful. So now you click OK. It'll bring up this little window here, right? And a game will run, which is Half-Life 2, which is obviously what we're using for this video. All right, as you can see, we are in the map. You can jump, you can do whatever. Or what I like to do is Impulse. Oh, wait, fuck. Impulse 101. Yeah, you get all weapons in the game. You can do whatever you want with them. Also, yeah, that audio is loud. But anyway, yeah, you have everything you want. You have your map here, you have it compiled, and hopefully you learned a lot from this video. Alright, you are done here. Quick recap though in case you need it. You should have learned the basic layout of Hammer's GUI, how to use the selection tool, block tool, texture application tool, and entity tool, and how to use the texture browser. I hope this video was helpful. I am sorry I am slow, I have a life and I do this in my free time. But I will have the next one out relatively soon, hopefully. However, I will see y'all next time when we go over some cool stuff, probably relating to lighting and props.